Okay, guys, this is the second part for English 8 for Thursday. Now we're going to mix them all up, okay? So as I promised you, that's what we're going to do. Turn to page 246 in your book. Again, we're not going to worry about diagramming this year. You'll work on that next year. This year, we're just going to make sure we understand the sentence patterns. Okay, if I have a simple sentence, what is my sentence pattern? It is simply a subject and verb. If I have a compound sentence, what does that mean? Subject, verb, conjunction, subject, verb. If I have a complex sentence, it's going to contain in it somewhere one independent clause and one dependent clause. If I have a compound, complex sentence, it's going to have an independent or a subject and a verb, conjunction, another independent or subject and verb. So I have a compound sentence, and somewhere in there, I'm also going to have a dependent clause, okay? So I have to have two independent clauses joined together with a conjunction and a dependent clause. Let's look at number 1 on page 246. I've written it on the board. You do it with me in your book. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. You know, God never gives you wealth and treasures and things like that to hold for yourself. He gives those to you to be a conduit, to use it for his ministry. All right, so let's look at this. First, we're going to say, is there a what? Is there a conjunction? And in this case, there is. But and a comma. Now we say, is there a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun? We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Okay, in that, what do you see? What? By what we get is a clause, and what we give is a clause. Look inside there, and do you have a subject and a verb? Of course you do. It is we get, we give. I did that backwards, didn't I? Okay, there we go. All right, so now we have our subjects and verbs. Now let's look at the rest of our sentence. Okay, we make a living by what we get. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. So our verb is over here, and our independent clause is make. Who or what make? We make. Down here in our second one, we have make. Again, who makes? Now, so let's look at this. We have we make, and is it a and I'm going to write right here underneath it, it's an independent clause. Then coming across, we found that we had a dependent clause. Then we found we had a what? A conjunction. Then we found an independent clause and then a dependent clause. So I have two independent clauses joined by a conjunction, and I have at least one dependent clause, so I have a what? A compound, complex sentence. Look at number 2. Everything is funny as long as it's happening to somebody else. That reminds me of a few of you. All right, let's look in here. Do you see a conjunction and a comma, or do you see a semicolon? No, there isn't. Okay, so what does that tell you automatically? If there's no conjunction, there's no semicolon, you know that you do not have a compound, nor do you have a compound complex. Okay, so let's look at the sentence. Everything is funny as long as it's happening to somebody else. Do you have a relative pronoun or a subordinating conjunction? Yes, you do. You have what? As long as. As long as it's happening to somebody else is a clause. What's my subject and verb in there? Okay, look at the clause. Happening is happening, and it. Okay, now look at what you have out here. Everything is funny. What's the verb? Is, and your subject is everything. So now what do you have? Let's write it right here. You have a independent clause, and then you have a dependent clause. What do you have? You have a complex sentence. Look at the next one. Some are born great. Some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust up on them. That was stated by William Shakespeare. All right, so my first question is, do you have a conjunction anywhere? Well, we do. We have a comma and a conjunction right there. Now, do I have any relative pronouns or subordinating conjunctions? I do not. So let's go through and let's find our verbs, okay? So we have are born, okay? What else? Achieve, okay? And what else? Have, what? And have, okay? Just there, okay? So now, who or what are born? Some are born. Who or what achieve? Some achieve. Who or what have? Some have. Now, I have a conjunction, okay? But I have no clauses here, so let's break this up. I have some are born, that's a what? That's a, I don't know if you can see over here, so I'm gonna write right here, okay? Draw a little square so you know it goes to this one. We have an independent clause, some are born. Then we have some achieve, that's an independent clause. Then we have a conjunction, and then we have another independent clause, some have. Independent clause, conjunction, independent clause. What do we have? Do we have two independent clauses joined by a conjunction? We do. So therefore, our sentence is a compound sentence. And Mrs. Turner, compound words are two words put together. This is three. It's a big compound word, okay? It'd be kind of like together. We got to, get, and her, okay? Together. I mean, that's three words. Look at the next one. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is, do you have a conjunction and a comma? No, you do not. Do you have a relative pronoun or a subordinate conjunction? No, we do not, okay? So what do we have? Well, we have a verb, is, and we have the subject, honesty, okay? If you look at this, you can see that in the book of wisdom are prepositional phrases, but that doesn't help us here. Honesty is, what is that? Well, it's simply a subject and a verb. So what is a subject and verb? It's a simple sentence, okay? Let's look at the next one. The Bible will keep you from sin, or sin will keep you from the Bible. Do you have a conjunction? You have the comma conjunction, or. Do you have a relative pronoun or a subordinating conjunction? You do not. So what is the verb? Will keep and will keep. Who will keep? Bible will keep. Who will keep? Sin will keep. So you have a subject verb, conjunction, subject verb. That is a compound sentence. Okay? Look at the next one. Because you have that subject verb is, I want to say this, it's an independent clause. So you have an independent clause, conjunction, independent clause. That means it's a compound sentence. Look at the next one. Within the covers of the Bible are the answers for all the problems men face. That is such a true statement by President Ronald Reagan. Okay? Do you have a conjunction? You do not. Do you have a dependent clause? Do you have one? You do have a dependent clause. Men face. You say, Mrs. Turner, it doesn't have a subordinated conjunction. Remember, the word that can be understood. Within the covers of the Bible are the answers for all the problems that men face. Sometimes the word that is understood. So men face is our dependent clause, with men being our subject and face being the verb. Okay, and now we need to find a subject and verb for our independent. Answers are. Answers is our subject. So if I have one independent clause, one dependent clause, what kind of sentence do I have? I have a complex sentence. Okay, I want you to do 7 through 10 as well as B 1 through 5. I want you to finish this page in your book so that I can give you the answers. Guys, this is the only practice you're going to have before the test. I really need you to really make sure you understand this, okay? All right, have a good day.